A very good morning to all of you. Now let me continue from the place where I left related with the drama Mother's Day. So as you know, George Pearson, he is last but not the least another important character. So when he enters, he found that Doris, she was crying, okay, very much. So let me just scroll it and see. It is written. I will be dealing from here. George looked slowly again at the door, then at Mrs. Pearson, because George was surprised because the atmosphere in the house was very quiet. Then he notices the stout, remember that wine bottle that Mrs. Pearson raises for another sip. His eyes almost bulge. That means he haven't seen his wife drinking previously. So when he noticed the bottle of stout in the hand of Mrs. Pearson, and Mrs. Pearson raises it for another sip, he couldn't believe his eyes. That is the meaning of the line, his eyes almost bulge. That means his eyes were about to come out of its sockets. Okay. Now I am moving on to page number 44. George, stout. Mrs. Pearson, yes. George, what are you drinking stout for? Why you are drinking? What is the reason for this? Mrs. Pearson, because I fancied some. See the dialogues, okay? As if we can easily understand that Mrs. Fitzgerald, she was very arrogant and very outspoken. Though now she had performed the magic and she went inside Mrs. Pearson, but in her dialogue delivery, that arrogance, that outspoken nature can be seen, right? Now you see, George is very, very surprised. George told Mrs. Pearson, at this time of day you are drinking. Mrs. Pearson, yes. What's wrong with it? At this time of day, what is wrong? Is it anything wrong that I can't drink right now? George is totally bewildered, extremely shocked, we can say, and equally surprised. So that means, or that defines the term bewildered. Nothing, I suppose, Annie. Now, Annie was actually the name of Mrs. Pearson, Mrs. Annie Pearson. But I have never seen you do it before. Please underline. I hope you all have the text by your side. What George told Mrs. Pearson, that I haven't seen you, Annie, drinking like this previously. Okay, I haven't seen you drinking like this previously because this is the first time I am seeing you drinking like this. See this line. I repeat one more time. But I have never seen you do it before. I haven't seen you like this earlier. Mrs. Pearson, well, you are seeing me now. Fine, you haven't seen me earlier, but I hope you are seeing me now. So what is the big problem in that? Now George never liked this, okay, and he confessed it, that I am not liking your behavior at all. See, George with heavy distaste, yes, and I don't like it. Please underline, I don't like it. The way you are drinking, the way you are behaving, the way I can see your body language, the way I am talking, the way you are talking with me, I don't like it at all. It doesn't look like right. I am surprised at you. Please underline. Now this is the impression of George, because George haven't seen her like this, and that is the reason George is saying that it doesn't look right. I am very much surprised at you. Now Mrs. Pearson, well, that ought to be a nice change for you. Okay, fine, finally you are looking at me. Previously you never cared about me. Now at least you are looking at me. That's a nice change. George, what do you mean? What are you trying to say? Now look at the dialogue of Mrs. Pearson. It must be some time since you were surprised at me, George, that after so long time, at least you have looked at me, George. Now look at George, how or in what dialogue he would say, I don't like surprises. I am all for a steady going on. I don't like this type of surprises that you are drinking stout, talking arrogantly. I don't like this type of surprises. You ought to know that by this time I always prefer a steady life. That is what George told Mrs. Pearson. I always prefer a steady life. By this time, being my wife for so many years, I hope you know my mentality. By the way, I forgot to tell you this morning, I wouldn't want any tea. Now, what is the reason? See, it is written here, special snooker match, night at the club. That means I have a snooker match, special snooker match at the club. And obviously, there will be a bit of drinking also, even I will be getting a dinner also there. So, I don't require any tea. See? And a bit of supper going, so no tea. Now look at the reaction of Mrs. Pearson. She was always ready to say, okay, that's all right, there isn't any, I haven't prepared any tea at all. George, you mean you didn't get any ready, you haven't prepared any tea? Mrs. Pearson, yes, and a good thing too, as it's turned out. Yes, I haven't prepared any cup of tea. So, yes, I haven't. And you don't require also, that is the good thing. Now, George never expected this, because every time Mrs. Pearson, the actual Mrs. Pearson we know, she was always alert and active. She was always on her toes to, to help her family members in whatever way she can. Okay, see? Mrs. Pearson, and a good thing too, as it's turned out. Now, George, that's all very well, but suppose I had wanted some. Okay, fine, since I will be outside today at the club. So, but if I had wanted some, what would have you done at that time? Mrs. Pearson, my goodness, listen to the man. Annoyed because I don't get a tea for him that he doesn't even want. Ever tried that at the club? Now Mrs. Pearson, now he is about to rebuke George, and he went on rebuking George by saying that listen to the man. He is annoyed because I don't get a tea for him that he doesn't even want. Do you behave like this at the club also? That you don't require a glass of beer or a glass of wine, and still you are very upset because the waiter haven't served you. Have you behaved like this? Behave once and see how the club members they react. See here written, tried what at the club? Okay, Mrs. Pearson is now saying, going up to the bar and telling them you don't want a glass of beer, but you are annoyed because they haven't already poured it out. Try that on them and see what you get. Okay, now you try all these type of nonsensical things in the house, but why don't you try it in the bar, in the pub? First you say you don't need any glass of beer, and then you behave that you are very upset because the waiter haven't served you a glass of wine or a beer. Behave it at the club and see how you get, what reaction you get from the bartenders or from the other club members. Now George is also, as you know, very very upset and very angry. See what he is saying, I don't know what you are talking about. I don't know what you are talking about. Mrs. Pearson, they laugh at you even more than they do now. Yes, because at the club I know that they all laugh at you, and you are being referred as Pompey Pearson. They all laugh at you. Now George, laugh at me? They don't laugh at me. Who told you? They laugh at me? No, they never laugh at me. Obviously they used to laugh at him. They used to refer him as Pompey Pearson, and he is one of their laughing stock, or rather to say he is one of their standing jokes. Okay, he is not only their laughing stock, he is one of their standing jokes. But he is disagreeing right now at this moment. Now let me move on. Of course they do. You ought to have found that out by this time. Anybody else would have done. You are one of their standing jokes. Dear students, please underline this one. This is a very important line. Mrs. Pearson told George Pearson that yes, you are their standing jokes. They make fun of you. And not only that, they call you Pompey Pearson. Okay, because you are slow and you are very pompous. That is the reason. Actually, all this information Mrs. Fitzgerald got from Mrs. Pearson, but Mrs. Pearson never had the courage to say all these things to George Pearson. So this thing she told to Mrs. Fitzgerald. Now Mrs. Fitzgerald got a great opportunity to say all these things to George, and exactly that is what she is doing. Now George is very horrified and well as very disappointed. Now who came before 1 minute left? Yes, good morning Devanoy. You came at a very late, you became very late today in the class. Okay, fine. So let me move on now. Just a minute. Yes. So see what is written. George is horrified. Never they make fun of me. Mrs. Pearson, it's always beaten me why you should want to spend so much time at a place where they are always laughing at you behind your back and calling you names. Now Mrs. Pearson, we know it is Mrs. Fitzgerald, she is saying that I am surprised that why you go to a place where they make fun of you, call you by several names behind your back, but still you go to that place. Why so? Leaving your wife at home night after night, instead of going out with her, who doesn't make you look a fool. Yes, you could have been in the house. Your wife was always waiting for you night after night, but what is the main thing that you go there every time at the club? Because ultimately at the club you are a laughing stock. Cyril enters right with a glass of milk in one hand and a thick slice of cake in the other. Now at this moment what exactly happened? Cyril enters, and as already you know that Cyril went to the kitchen to help himself with some food stuff. So he came with a glass of milk in one hand and obviously a small piece of cake on the other. Now George, he asked Cyril, because Cyril went with him to the party on maybe on one or two occasions. Okay, so George asked Cyril, here Cyril, you have been with me to the club once or twice. They don't laugh at me and call me Pompey Pearson, do they? Do you think that they call me Pompey Pearson? George, please say the truth. Do they? Now, George is saying to Cyril that please say the truth. Please say to your mother what exactly they call me. Do they call me Pompey Pearson? Now Cyril is in a dilemma. He was not at all eager to get into this quarrel, but he got inside this quarrel, and then he felt a bit embarrassed and he told his father, yes dad, I am afraid they call you Pompey Pearson. Now it was, we can say, just like a nail in the coffin, and it was something very difficult for George to digest. Okay, and see, well, I will be damned. And after that George decided not to stay there for long, decided to move out of that place. See, so George exit, and after the exit of George, Cyril got very disappointed and angry, equally angry with his mother. And look at the dialogue. Now you shouldn't have told him that, mother. That's not fair. You have hurt his feelings. Mine too. Yes, you have hurt his feelings. You have hurt my feelings also. Now Mrs. Pearson, sometimes it does people good to have their feelings hurt. Now, because we all know truth is bitter, isn't it? So that is the reason Mrs. Pearson told Cyril that sometimes truth has to be digested. Okay, the truth ought not to hurt anybody for long. If your father didn't go to the club so often, perhaps they would stop laughing at him. Your father goes to the club every now and then. If your father would have went once or twice, they would not have laughed at him like this. But your father goes to the club every time. He is a regular visitor, and that is the reason they make fun of him. He haven't earned any respect. Rather, he was their laughing stock. He was their one of their standing jokes. Okay, now in reply to that, Cyril told, I doubt it. Okay, so I stop here. In my next class, I will be dealing with from page number 46. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you everyone. Thank you.